Hi guys! In this video, I'm going to explain why you need to start thinking a little bit differently about speed and what speed or increasing your speed when running means when you've got high hamstring tendinopathy versus your old thought processes when you weren't injured and you were just training for performance. Because that can be the difference between you getting back to running and causing yourself a flare up. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Maryke. I'm one of the physiotherapists from sportsinjuryphysio.com, where we provide online physiotherapy assessments as well as treatments via video call. So have a look at the description of this video if you want a link to the website. Okay, so what's the issue with speed? Now, if we think of high hamstring tendinopathy, it's when you've got pain right there by your sit bone. And when we increase the speed with running, we naturally give larger steps. So that means the leg moves forwards and you get a little bit more compression of that tendon over the sit bone, but also the hamstring has to contract more forcefully. So you're getting the increase in compression plus increase in force, and that can often be really provocative for the high hamstring tendon. Now, I've had quite a few patients in the last few weeks where, bless them, they've really just increased the speed of their run walk sessions and things with a tiny bit, which wouldn't count as a speed session when they weren't injured, and it's really flared them up. And it's just made me realize again that I need to really explain to you that when we think of return to running from high hamstring tendinopathy, we need to get to quite a good volume of slow running that it can cope with that before we start increasing that volume of running with a few seconds of speed training. Now, when you weren't injured, usually it's people with good performance in running that get this type of injury. So your fast running sessions would have been, gosh, if you're a male, it may have been 3 minutes 40 per kilometer or 4.5 minutes per kilometer. If you're female, it may have been 4.5, around that per kilometer, your normal running. So now you may be running at something like 6.5 minutes or 8 minutes per kilometer. Or if you're doing miles, it may even be some people running at 12-minute miles or 10-minute miles. So it's really slow compared to what you're used to. Now, if you increase a 12-minute mile pace by half a minute per mile, that's actually a big jump for the hamstring tendon with regards to force plus compression. If you increase it, same goes for, say for instance, you're running 7.5 minutes per kilometer, so really slowly. But now you're doing just a few of those run walk sessions at 6.5 minutes per kilometer. That's a minute jump in speed, which makes a big difference again to the compression and the force. So a good way of building it up that you don't end up in that situation is, of course, you've got to be doing your rehab alongside that, so building the strength in that tendon. But keep your runs really slow until you can easily do 40 minutes to an hour. So depending on the type of running you do, if you're more a shorter distance person, so you usually just do about 5Ks, that type of thing, I would say 40 minutes. If you're somebody who likes to do marathon running, we need to be looking at up to an hour of easy running really easy running, before we start taking some time off that. And then when you start thinking of, okay, I'm going to start speeding up a little bit, we approach it in the same way as a run walk. So you're now continuously running really slow pace for 40 minutes to an hour, whatever is appropriate for you. You don't increase that whole run session with the slightly higher speed. You do a slow warm-up bit. Say, let's take a 40-minute session. Say we do 10 to 15 minutes of really slow. Then for the next 10 to 15 minutes, you do it in 1 minute, 1 minute. So 1 minute slightly faster, so 10 to 15 seconds faster. Then you bring it back down to your normal pace for the next minute. 10 to 15 seconds faster and back. Of course, there will be people who can progress more quickly. But if you've got one that's niggly and that's quite sensitive, I would say this approach will really work for you. But you have to make sure that you get good strength training in there as well at the same time. Excellent. Let me know if you've got any questions. And if you need more help with an injury, always welcome to consult us via video call. Link to the website, I'll put a link up here, but there's also a link in the description of this video. Take care.